You guys, welcome back to another one. If you're new to this channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we're in the brand new 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI, courtesy of Hanover Volkswagen in Hanover, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So today we are in this one because there is a refreshed look, of course, for the Jetta for 2025. Dashboard in here has also been redone as well. There is a 6-speed manual available. We do happen to have that 6-speed manual with us here today, so that's exciting. And in theory, this thing should have plenty of power. We're gonna find out here soon, but ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so essentially there is one trim level for the Jetta GLI, and that is the Autobahn. It used to be that way, but essentially MSRP for the Jetta GLI is going to start at $32,715. So when it comes to the power plant, powering the beast is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that puts out 228 horsepower at 6,700 RPM, 258 pound-feet of torque coming in at 1,700 RPM. That power is going to be sent to the front wheels through your choice of either a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual clutch. But the 0 to 60 time is going to differ slightly between those two transmission options. For the 6-speed manual, it's going to come in at 6 seconds flat, and then for the dual clutch, 5.6 seconds. MPG numbers though is going to be the same, coming in at 26 in the city, 36 on the highway, taking regular unleaded fuel. And that's one of the big selling points when you compare it to the competition. Usually performance cars like the Jetta GLI is going to require premium fuel. However, with this one, it requires regular, and there's no performance difference if you were to put premium in it too, so that's pretty cool. But anyways, before we do any kind of fun acceleration test or anything like that here in the Jetta, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. There is a button labeled mode that is located kind of just behind the shifter there, and drive modes are going to include Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, and Custom, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, the steering sensitivity, and actually the suspension settings as well. And so I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that later in the video, but that's one of the coolest things about this thing. But anyways, let's not go ahead and find it straight away. Let's put the Jetta GLI here to the test, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. All right, here we go. Let's go. Spinning. This is nice though. All right, easy to shift, I will say that, but the roads are wet right now because it rained like crazy last night, so there is going to be a lot of spinning right now, so I really can't give it the full test when it comes to acceleration. But having said that, that's one thing I would probably change about this. Although the competition gets front-wheel drive too, would love to see an optional all-wheel drive on the Jetta, because this is a lot of power being sent to the front wheels. Not that there was any torque steer or anything like that, which is nice, but I will say it spins quite a bit with that power being sent to just the front wheels. So an all-wheel drive setup would do wonderfully on this car. But like I said, the competition doesn't give it to you either. I mean, if you compare this to like the Civic Si or the Civic Type R or the Hyundai Elantra N, they're all spinning on the front as well. So I guess it's not a huge deal, but me personally, it's a lot of spinning in the front wheels. But anyways, plenty fun. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so up front, you will find 13.4-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 11.8-inch ventilated rear discs. I would also mention, though, if you take a look at the calipers there, you do get red brake calipers, which is pretty stinking cool. As far as the 6 easier stopping distance goes, with summer tires, apparently it comes in at 109 feet, which is brilliant. Without summer tires, apparently it's in the upper 120s, which is still respectable, but it's not like a performance fun car kind of braking number. But 109 feet, that is plenty fine. As far as braking feel goes, since there is nobody behind us here, it's actually really good. A very firm braking feel, the Jetta GLI, so big fan of that. Absolutely no issues there. And the other cool thing is I'm on a hill right now. If I come to a complete stop at this stop sign and I let go of the brake, there's hill start assist. So even if I'm in this manual, I'm not drifting backwards, which is a wonderful thing as well. So I'm a huge fan of that. But anyways, then touching on suspension and handling. Up front, you're gonna get an independent strut type front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. But the very best part about this car is the adaptive damping suspension. So if you guys have seen my videos before, you know I always love these things because what it does is it monitors each shock absorber individually, not only adjusting to the road imperfections, giving you a smooth ride, but it also tightens up that suspension during heavy cornering, giving you better handling as well. So it really does give you the best of both worlds. But what's most notable, at least in my opinion, when it comes to adaptive damping suspensions, because this is one of the most bumpiest roads in Hanover, and I've taken this road 1,000 different times when I test drive vehicles, and it's horrible right there. And this thing absorbs the road imperfections so freakishly nicely because, again, it monitors each shock absorber, adjusting to that, giving you that smoother ride. So if you compare the Jetta with it versus without it, it's an extremely noticeable difference. So for that reason, the Jetta GLI, it's a very nice ride. So ride quality, 100% on point here, so I'm a big fan of that. As far as steering feel goes, I just put it in sport driving. I probably should have had that on for the acceleration, but it was too slippery for that. But anyways, it is a noticeable difference, actually, pretty noticeable depending upon the drive mode that you put it in when it comes to that steering feel. So much heavier feel to the steering, although it's not quite as heavy as I would like it, but much heavier feel to the steering in that sport driving mode, much looser feel if you take it out of that. So something for everybody there. As far as cabin noise goes, it's been pretty serene in my short little test drive here today, so definitely don't have any issues there. However, the one thing I would add to this one is maybe make an optional performance exhaust for the Jetta GLI, because this is kind of a performance car. So having a nice exhaust sound would definitely be a plus in my opinion, because this thing is super quiet when it comes to that exhaust note. But we'll do an exhaust clip later in the video. But so far, it's not that much different as far as the sound goes than comparing it to like a regular Jetta or something like that. Then touching on visibility, 100% perfectly fine looking out my rear view mirror. And the other thing is, touching on forward visibility, is that rain sensing windshield wipers will come standard on the Jetta GLI. So whenever this thing detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers for you, kind of like automatic headlights. Just one less thing you got to worry about there. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. One more thing, in case you guys noticed the little exclamation mark light on the dash here, that's because we're low on windshield wiper fluid, so in case anybody was curious. But anyways, let's check out the exterior. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI, finished in deep black pearl, in case you were curious of the exact exterior color name. But anyways, let's go ahead and start with where the Jetta GLI is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 3, indicating that the Jetta GLI is built and assembled in Mexico, believe it or not. But let's go ahead and start up front on this one. You do have a reshaped front bumper. You have new headlamps as well, revised front grille. So a lot new with the 2025 Jetta. To the sides, LED headlights with LED daytime running lights. You get the automatic feature with those. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. And when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. You also have that integrated light bar found in the front grille with the GLI logo just above. So you guys can see that there is a little light bar going from the sides of that Volkswagen logo to the left and to the right with that GLI logo. So that looks pretty darn cool as well. I really like that. But got the red accents found in the bottom front lip there, and that matches up with the red and the GLI logo, of course. And then to the bottom there, you guys can see that front mount intercooler, since we do have a turbocharged 4-cylinder here, so that looks pretty darn good as well. A little bit of front air curtains to the bottom corners there, helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination. So overall, looks dang good in the front. But now let's go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of the Jetta here, gloss black window surrounds coming standard. Get gloss black power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated with memory settings and integrated turn signals actually as well. Got the GLI badging found on the front doors. That looks good. And then as far as the wheel setup goes, they're going to be 18-inch black alloys with all-season tires. And of course, you could put summer tires on there as well if you wanted to. But pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of this one, all the way to the back, a gloss black shark fin-ish antenna. You do have a rear spoiler back there as well, deck lid spoiler, kind of a lip spoiler, whatever you want to call it. LED taillights, they definitely look good. Going to be reworked for 2025 as far as the design goes. You have the GLI badging found in the middle, front and center. Also have LED license plate lighting back there. I didn't want to overlook that. And my favorite part, dual exhaust outlets with chrome tips, and they're pretty large exhaust outlets as well, so they definitely look good. But Having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so now since we are around to the back of the Jetta, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, there is a button on the key fob. There's a rubberized button, of course, on the trunk itself as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 14.1 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down for quite a bit of extra space then if you needed it. Of course, you got some cargo lighting back there, and then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will find a spare tire, which I always love to see. But then make your way up to the rear legroom. That's going to come in at 37.4 inches. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the rear seats there. There is a rear center armrest with cup holders, so I'm always a big fan of seeing that. However, no rear ventilation, no USB charging ports back there as well. But then making your way up to the front seats, power adjustable leather seating does come standard. They are actually heated and ventilated as well. Those buttons are located just above the dual zone climate control up here, so was definitely surprised to see that. That is pretty cool. You got memory settings as well. Overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it's actually plenty fine. Not the most comfortable seats, but they're not horrible either. It's pretty much as I would expect the Jetta to feel like when it comes to seat comfort. Then taking a look at the steering wheel, I was a huge fan of this. So this is tilt and telescoping. It is manually adjustable. It is leather wrapped. I love the perforated feel on the left and to the right. That is pretty cool. You got the flat bottom, the GLI logo at the very bottom. It is actually heated. Believe it or not, that button is located on the right-hand side of the steering wheel, and the 10-2 grips are massive. So 100% huge fan of the steering wheel on the GLI here. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. It is a pretty heavy duty key. Got your Volkswagen logo on the one side. When you flip it over, lock, unlock, and the button to pop the trunk there. But it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that silver engine start button located just to the left of the shifter there. And so once started up, this gauge cluster is a 10.25 inch digital gauge cluster. And the cool thing about this is not only does the colors change when you change the drive mode, which I was a huge fan of, but there is a view button on the right hand side of the steering wheel. If you were to press that, it completely changes the look up there. So you have kind of this minimalist look. It has kind of a lot of information, and then you can go to the traditional gauge cluster look where you got the tachometer on your left, speedometers on your right. That's probably the one I would personally prefer here in the Jetta, but overall, it looks pretty darn good. You got how many miles you have left until you hit empty, the outside temperature. And again, we're low on windshield wiper fluid apparently, so no big deal there. That's an easy fix. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. You do have this power sliding panoramic sunroof. That is pretty stinking cool. Let's go ahead and open that up real quick, see how that opens up. That opens up all the way. That's pretty nice. And you got this cool little bug net as well, so no bugs and birds don't fly into this thing when you're driving. So that's always nice. Auto dimming rear view mirror. I'm gonna go ahead and close this thing up. Auto dimming rear view mirror does come standard. Got dual zone climate control, so both driver and passenger can set their own temperatures there. Stainless steel pedals down below. Love these floor mats as well. Nice red outline to them. It says GLI on them, so big fan of the floor mats. I know it's the small things, right? But just in front of the shifter, you have a wireless phone charger that comes standard. Just behind the shifter, you have a couple cup holders, and then within the center armrest, it's actually a decent amount of storage in there, quite a bit. And you have a USB charging port in there. For whatever reason, there's kind of like this very light color in there within the center armrest, whereas everything else is black and gray. So that's kind of interesting, but like the red contrast stitching everywhere found on the seats and the doors and the dash and all that fun stuff. Again, the dash has been redesigned. That looks pretty darn good as well. So we do also have an optional frameless rear view mirror with home link controls and a compass in the upper right hand corner, so I was a fan of that. There is an overhead sunglass holder up there as well. Don't want to forget to mention that. But the one thing I think I probably would have switched up as far as the interior quality goes is everything surrounding the shifter is finished in a matte black, although I do like the silver engine start button. I would leave that, but everything else is kind of a matte black. I would have finished that in the gloss black, kind of match up with the doors and the dash here. I think that probably would have looked better. But anyways, but now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen. You are looking at an 8-inch color touchscreen display. You get Bluetooth and audio streaming with that, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You can adjust a bunch of different settings up there as well, along with your radio information. So when it comes to the sound system, you do have a 6-speaker sound system that comes standard. So having said that, let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out the clarity of this one. It's okay. I mean, it's a 6-speaker sound system, not a ton of bass with that 6-speaker sound system. Some of them have more than others. Clarity was okay. Loudness, not the loudest sound system out there, but it's okay. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to that sound system, quite honestly. But anyways, last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the Jetta GLI in reverse, and by the way, to put the manual in reverse, you press down on the shifter and slide it into the upper left-hand corner. That is going to give you a rear view camera taking up the entire screen, which is always going to lead us into safety. And so to start, front side curtain airbags do come standard. In the back, you got latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert, forward collision warning, autonomous emergency braking, and pedestrian monitoring then as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the Jetta GLI, I love the adaptive damping suspension. That's one of the main selling points of this thing because it does really give you a much smoother ride. And again, it also tightens up the suspension so you can have a little better handling as well. The 6-speed manual is a ton of fun and such a rarity these days. So big fan of that as well. As far as room for improvement goes, I'll give you 2 things on that side as well. All-wheel drive, I think that would be wonderful in this car. Although, like I said, the competition doesn't offer it, but again, it's a lot of power being sent to the front wheel, so you are going to get a lot of spinning on kind of rainy, wet days like today. And then the other thing is there's just a couple things when it comes to interior quality I would switch up, like around the shifter. So kind of a couple hard touch plastics I would swap out. But overall, this car is a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think of the Jetta GLI in the comments section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media if you wanted to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we've been doing here on this channel for 11 years now. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.